that I don't know, have a bigger. This is a huge opportunity to go to the US. I will not.
I just realized something that's gonna drive me insane. I got that recording. I don't have this recording. I don't remember hitting the record button. This is what I'm thinking. And then I kindly look over thinking, oh, please be red. Please be green. Oh, painful. Okay, Budapest. We're in Budapest. Anybody that doesn't know, my name is Ray, and I'm going to let you, I know how to say your name now, but Benedek, did I say it right?
Correct. Yeah.
It's exactly right? Okay, good.
Exactly.
Benedek, my friend Benedek, again, or I shouldn't say again because you guys didn't hear that part. We met a while back, Benedek number 2, who is the CFO of your company, Voovo.
Yeah.
Voovo. Come on, give me the right way. Give me the right way.
We call it Voovo.
Voovo.
Yeah.
Okay, Voovo, which we'll get into later about that. It's, well, you know, he introduced me to this Benedek, and he's the founder of this company, and he's 22, which I just like didn't realize you were just so young, man. Jeez, oh my gosh, I'm twice your age, man. It's crazy. Anyway, and so we met at the coffee shop, right? We met at this coffee shop right down the street, and I saw him. He came up to me and said, "Hey, man, what's going on?" We started shooting the shit and started talking about this and that. And before I knew it, man, this guy, I realized he's really cool and he's really, really smarter than me. I realized that. I was like, wow. Before I didn't think I guess I didn't think so before, but now I was sure of it, you know? No. No, this guy's a brilliant mind, 100% brilliant mind. And so he was showing me on his computer like all these different things that he was doing and software, you know, and all. It's just crazy. Anyway, I'm going to let him explain that so I don't butcher it entirely. So yeah, we're in Budapest. It's the middle of the night, 8:30 for anybody that's from the West Coast, East Coast, where I'm from. And there's people walking by. So occasionally you might see a person walk by and wave. We had some hotties walk by and say, "Hey, what's up? I don't know who that American guy is, but that guy over there, we want to talk to him. Can you stop recording?" And no, it's like, so, you know, so anyway, that was the, So anyway, yeah. So
exactly how it happened.
That's exactly verbatim, right? So yeah. So as a child, you had how many siblings again?
6.
6 siblings.
Yeah.
You are the youngest of 6, right?
Yeah.
And you love to wrestle. You love to fight the one that was closest to you at some point when you guys were kids, very young. And you were not into Legos, but you were into something else called. What is that called again?
Geomag.
Geomag. I'm never going to remember that. Geomag. Is that who makes that product?
No idea.
Okay. So
I think Geomag.
Geomag. Okay. So it's like it's a Hungarian product, you think?
I don't think so.
Not okay.
No, but it was extremely popular when I was a kid.
Okay. All right. And so then he went from that to kind of being homeschooled, right?
Yeah, I was homeschooled. Yeah.
You were, but based on the homeschooled, your family decided, your mom or your dad decided that we were going to make a school out of this.
It was always the idea, but yeah, it's probably my mom.
Okay.
She's the one who would do that.
Okay.
She was extremely like angry of the system, the school system, and then she decided to have a homeschool, like have every sibling homeschooled, and then we would have the same schedule, like a real school basically. And yeah, teachers would come, and then we would learn.
So teachers would come in.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she was like teaching everything. Okay.
No. Oh. It was like she hired the best teachers for each subject. Like she did like a whole hiring process to find the best teachers in each subject.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and we it was extremely good. That's how we got into like I think it was probably of one teacher. Because you didn't hear about it. You asked previously, how did we get into science like all of us?
Right.
And I said that it was probably because my father was a research doctor and my mother was a psychologist. But actually now thinking about it, it was maybe a reason. But the other big reason is that we had just the most incredible biology teacher who my mother has hired. He actually lives, I think, maybe there.
Oh,
South
okay.
Korea. Yeah. So
We got to get him on the podcast.
maybe, yeah. So I think maybe that was one of the biggest reasons, because usually teachers make the students who they are.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very true.
So-
That happened with me with math class. I thought I was a dummy for a long time in school. Didn't think I was very smart. Was in special classes sometimes. I just didn't think I was. And then this fantastic math teacher started teaching math, and the way he told me math, I was able to digest it. And from being like this person that was on the back of the class, by the time I took my final exam for that, for that, I was like number 2.
Yeah. It's amazing what teaching is.
It really is. Wow. So, okay. So interesting. So did that happen in your home, the home teaching, or with all the student people, all the teachers and stuff coming to your home, or was that like a place that you guys designed for this, or?
No, it was our home.
Oh, in your home. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we had like rooms which were used for this.
Okay.
Like, I think 2 rooms maybe were used for this, but yeah, it was in our home.
What I didn't ask before, I was just thinking about that. You said that that's where it started. Now, past your siblings, were there other kids that were taking advantage of
No.
that? Okay, so just the family.
No, just the family.
Okay, gotcha. Wow, interesting. And then from there, you between that and tennis, you were beating up your brother. I remember that.
It was my sister.
Oh, it was your sister.
Yeah.
Oh man, how did we miss that? Okay, yeah. So she won most of the time, I guess. Yeah.
She did, yeah. She was 5 years older than me.
Oh, bro. Okay, so that was the difference. Okay, that's what made you strong, getting ready for being the tennis player that you didn't realize you were. Tennis. That was something that you were brought into by your parents, or something that you just kind of picked up and just said, "Oh, I'm going to play tennis."
No, it was more like I was very hyperactive, and that's how they said, okay, you have to go somewhere.
Okay. Get that physical
yeah.
energy out of you.
Yeah,
right.
definitely. And then it was the tennis court, which was the nearest, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, it wasn't like I chose tennis. It was more like, I started playing it, and then I liked it. So
it wasn't like,
continued.
because football is generally what people play here in Europe. They can't wait.
No, it was like, I don't know why exactly. I don't know. It was just tennis.
Okay.
I think I played football as well, but then maybe I
Gotcha.
went to tennis.
Okay. And you were pretty good at that after a certain point.
Yeah. So in terms of Hungary, I could got to, like, I don't know, 5th best, or like in the 5 best in the country.
Well,
in the age. But yeah, not like internationally. I started playing as a junior, but then I didn't go to the tour.
okay.
To like the adult tour. I didn't start.
You didn't go because you didn't want to go. Or you didn't go because your skill set wasn't to that point.
So I would say my skill set had the potential to go.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, others who were not as good as me started.
Okay.
But I decided at like quite a young age, around the age of 16, that I just didn't want to.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not saying that I don't like that when people say I had a career that I had to give up. No, I may had a chance to go to the tour. It was a small chance, but it's always a small chance. But I decided not to.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And it was cool that your parents let you make those decisions for yourself, right? Because I mean, some parents, man, like, I don't know, man. I think I'm about to have a kid fairly soon.
Oh, congrats!
Yes, thank you. Yes, next month that should be the pop out date. So
wow,
I get a chance to meet him. Yeah, and I always think to myself, I always was taught about this. Have you ever heard of the 10-year rule?
No.
Basically, if you do anything in life, right, and in order for you to master it, you must spend 10 years in the process of learning that thing, whatever that thing is. So for you, it's like tennis, right? If you focus on tennis for that point from 6 to 16, and that was you dedicated to that, then you become the master of that based on that 10-year rule. It's been talked about. You might find it on the internet, people talking about it and stuff. So I always had that in the back of my mind, like, wow, that kind of.
But I guess it differs from like domain. No.
Was that again?
Like I guess it differs from like area you go into.
Does it?
It has to.
Does it?
I think it has to. Like there are. Okay, if you want to master biochemistry,
okay,
I think that's a harder thing to do than if you want to master, I don't know, building house. No, that's not. But like, I don't know.
All right.
I think there has to be a difference.
Right. There's some things that just take longer to actually
master. Yeah.
To master the whole process.
I mean,
of it.
If you want, let me give you an example. If you want to master the biochemistry of a cell, or if you want to master the biochemistry of a tissue, it's just, I don't know, thousands of times bigger. So it has to be more. You have to master the cell if you want to master the tissue. You know understand what I mean?
Okay, but that's discovery though, right? Is that, or is that something that that just takes longer to learn?
Yeah, but give me an example of this 10-year rule being applied to like.
Well, let's just say piano.
Yeah.
Right? You'd start playing piano at 6 and you just stay dedicated to it, like brushing your teeth. Like every day you have to brush your teeth. Mm-hmm. So if you have the mentality of like every day you have to learn how to play your scales, how to play with your left hand, how to play with your right hand, how to play in major chords, minor chords, how to play sevenths, how to play fifths, how to, all the different aspects of it. Like as if it's just routine, right? Where it's not something that you feel like you have to do or can't, or you feel made to do, just like brushing your teeth. No, but as a kid, you don't ever want to brush your teeth, right? Your parents kind of do the process. If you put someone in that frame of mind where this is like what you will be doing for the next 10 years, and they just know that's just part of their life, by the time they're 16 and they decide, or say 17 or 18, and decide to go out into the world and figure out what to do with life, there's one thing that they have that nobody can take away from them. And they can be a master at that because they have dedicated so much time to that they just kind of have that in their back pocket, even if they don't want to be that,
Yeah.
And it teaches them that. And then the other part of it is I always thought that it would teach them to know that if that's something they don't want to do, that when they do something else, they know what it takes to make that work because they've dedicated that process already to something.
Yeah, I understand that, and it's more like a motivational thing to have the 10-year rule, or it's more like I don't know, scientific thing. That which one is it?
No, I think I don't even think it's scientific, really. Because
it's more like a motivational thing to have in the back of your mind, just how you did it, right?
Well, no, I never did it. Just for the record, I was not. I think back thinking that I wish I had that. I was self-motivating. I was. The term autodidactic?
Yeah, of course.
I was very autodidactic. I played like. When I was 13, I played like 4 or 5, maybe 6 different instruments, right? But for the reason because my dad we used to have his band play in our basement, and my dad liked to have a lot of instruments around. So I always wanted to be like him and the people he played around. So I would just pick things up and just start playing it,
Now you wish you like mastered one?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, for me,
this is something I think about a lot.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Like I think about a lot that I'm doing multiple things, and maybe I should just quit and focus on one and be extremely caught up in this. But yeah, it's a hard choice to make.
It is, especially because on the flip of the coin, I learned that process of like say instruments, I kind of pulled over into other parts of my life where I learned other things, not greatly, not like mastering, but I learned so many different other aspects of things that kind of put me in a position where I can live like currently on the other side of the world and figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah.
And live and have all of these tools in my in my pocket. When I go down to some of these, I meet some of my friends and they say, "Oh, why don't you come out? We go drink, have a party at night." And then all of a sudden I'll see a piano sitting there and I'll just sit down and I start playing it.
Yeah, I think that's always the case. Like, it's always like a decision you have to make. Focus on one thing, or be good at multiple things and have like this wide tool set, as you said.
Yeah.
And I think it's extremely interesting which route people take. And this is something I think about a lot. What should I?
Really?
Yeah.
Even now, like, even because now you have a, like, kind of going into from tennis, you stopped playing tennis at 20, then you're only 22 now. So within this, between 20 and 22, somewhere in between that, you started a company.
Yeah, but the thing is that so first I played tennis. When I was playing tennis, I was extremely focused on academics as well. Like I was studying a lot. And then I decided to either go to university or to US to play tennis, college tennis. And I decided to go try myself out in college tennis, and then went back to Hungary. And I started med school. So I was always doing preparing for med school and playing tennis, and now I'm doing med school and building a company. So that's like always two things.
Okay.
Not a lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but always two things. And I was always like hesitant. Should I do one thing completely, or should I do this two things separately? And there are many pros doing both in the same time, but there are many contras as well.
Sure.
So, and it's a hard decision to make.
Yeah. You just said something else. It just made me think. You said when I came back to Hungary.
Yeah.
Where were you?
Yeah. So I went.
Like how I worded that. Well, so where were you?
Yeah, it's by the way, I'm not sure if I say this, but when we had a conversation and then you said, okay, let's do it in the podcast.
Right,
and,
right,
there are things that you already know.
Well, yeah, but
and it's
I gotta do it for the effect of it, right?
Yeah.
So, come on.
But it's weird. So I went to Des Moines.
Des Moines,
out of all places. Yeah, I went to Des Moines, Iowa, to study. To study neuroscience and biochemistry for just only a semester, because I was going there for study the whole, do these 2 degrees. But I stopped after just a semester, and that's why I came back to Hungary.
Okay.
Because I went to Des Moines, was there for a semester, did not like the whole vibe of college.
Oh.
And then I
thought you were going to say you didn't like the vibe of Des Moines. I was
Des
it's a
Moines,
beautiful place.
Des Moines, I love.
Okay. Yeah. So wait a minute, were you playing tennis there too?
Yeah, I was playing college tennis on a scholarship, and that's how I could join the school.
To that school? Oh, so you were really good. You were a really good tennis player. In order for somebody to say, come over to Des Moines, U.S., first time there, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, not first time, but I was visiting schools before.
Okay.
That's the only way I could get to U.S. I was visiting schools when I was applying for schools.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But first time living there.
Okay. Sure. So you went through the process of applying, and U.S. was that the first place you wanted to go? Did you always want to go to U.S.?
Always U.S. When it comes to playing tennis from Europe, for sure.
Okay.
It's always the decision of are you motivated enough and good enough to start a tour, or are you motivated to do school and play tennis? Then definitely US. Or are you motivated only to do school and then you have other choices as well? But if you want to do school and tennis, it's always 99% of the time it's US. They just have this incredible opportunity for kids from Europe.
Interesting. Your English, awesome, really awesome. Living here for off and on as long as I have, I hear variations of that. And was English taught in the family? Did your parents speak English?
Not to me.
Not to you, okay.
Yeah, they knew how to speak, but we never spoke English.
Okay, so you picked it up in school. You had to learn it. Was that your second language, or?
Yeah, I learned at school. I guess it comes from two things. Okay, maybe three. I learned it as well. But when I was playing tennis, I was going around the globe actually to play tournaments.
Okay.
And then I was using English a lot.
Okay.
Like when I was like 14, 16, I was using English a lot. I couldn't really speak well, but I was using it a lot. And then I went to, then I just started using it for everything.
Okay.
And, like I was thinking usually in English when I was in Des Moines. And the accent, I had a terrible accent. I still have a little bit of an accent, but I mean, not a little bit. I have an accent, but like I had a terrible accent. And then in Des Moines, I think it was getting better. And since then, I like in my real life, I use English, I think, as much as I use it Hungarian.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's just so international now. So.
Right. And then also being like in the tech world, right?
Yeah.
It's vital.
All English. It's all English.
I mean,
everything we do in the company in terms of like documents, in terms of any kind of product we make is in English.
Okay.
So I guess it's
wow. Yeah. I keep bouncing back. I notice you keep looking back.
Yeah. You know why? Because the reflection of us. Sometimes I feel
you
like
think it's somebody else. Oh, that's a hot.
Like,
oh, that's somebody else.
Sometimes I feel like it's people.
Somebody
like,
there.
Oh
yeah.
no, it's just me.
It's just me. Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, what do you think? It's a nice vibe, right?
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I would never think of it, but now I'm here. I feel like I'm so much closer. I'm so much more free.
Right
That's
on.
what I think.
Right on.
That's what I feel.
Okay. I love it. This is exactly, I stole this idea from like as when I was playing music and I would play at like TV shows or that sort of thing. One TV show we did was the Good Morning America show, and they have a scene where they have a window facing the public, and they could stand behind there and watch the performance inside that's being televised or anything else that's happening. So that's where I stole the idea from. But I thought exactly what you're saying. I love it. That's exactly what I want to hear, because I want people to feel like they can be comfortable and be themselves and be somewhat up on a stage environment where they're just like talking to the world,
Yeah, and it's like, it's weird because if you think about it, you are next to like strangers. So it would maybe make you uncomfortable. But at the same time, somehow it just feels that you're free.
Yeah.
Because like if you had like a real wall here, you would like, okay, now I'm at camera talking to someone.
Right.
And we are making something.
Right. We don't know who they are yet.
Yeah. But like now it's more like we're free. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man.
It was an amazing idea. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. So let's see. 20. So 20, you tennis kind of took a back seat, or it kind of got away from that. And then you, wait a minute. We go back. Des Moines. Yes. Des Moines. What was that was your first time living out of Hungary or in another country in general?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So you've lived other places, it sounds like, too. Or,
No. It was like for real, for living somewhere.
Right.
It was the first time to be living abroad. But I was traveling a lot because of tennis.
Okay.
So that's why I had to think.
Okay, gotcha. Right.
Like real living, not at home.
Tennis was a great vehicle for you then, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
How many places? I mean, how many countries do you think you went to just playing tennis?
Probably in the 30s, maybe.
Really? Wow. That's amazing, man. That's like a musician. That's when I think about being a musician.
20, 30 for sure, yeah.
Wow. And so that had to have an impact on you.
It did. Yeah. It made me want to stay home.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah. That's not the answer I was thinking of. So please elaborate. So why? I mean, I would think that you would want to spend more time seeing more, but I guess it was an opposite effect for you.
Yeah, it was not like that brutal effect that I don't ever want to go abroad, but I like, especially when I was in Des Moines, I knew that I just don't want to be away from Budapest.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, but I can't. I'm not from here, and I love Budapest or Hungary for that matter. I think it's a pretty phenomenal place to live.
How did you come here?
Wow. Well,
because you asked me out of all places why Des Moines.
Right. Yeah.
It's
a good question, man. Absolutely, it's a great question. I had a good friend of mine at the time. He was here already. He was American Hungarian, and his grandfather was born in Budapest. He was in the military. He got out of the military. I met him shortly after that, and then he wanted to be a
military of U.S.
U.S. military. Yeah. Yes. And he got out, and then he decided that he wanted to be a fireman. So he was going to study to be a fireman, at some place in the U.S. And then this company came along and said, look, do you still have your military credentials? And he says, well, why don't you work for our company? Because we want you to come work in different parts of the world for our company that works for the military. And they generally hire ex-military people to do that, right? So he ended up traveling a bit, and then he ended up having opportunity to come to Hungary, where his grandfather was born. So he was like, "Oh man, I gotta see this. My grandfather's great. I got to see where he came from." So he ended up coming here maybe a year and a half before I did, and he would come to as a musician. I was traveling. I discovered Europe. One of the first places I went to was the UK. Fell in love with Europe at that point. Went from like one of those barges that take cars and trucks. I'm sorry.
What did you make?
I was a musician. I was a keyboard player, vocalist. I had helped produce this album. I don't know if you see right here, this album. I helped produce this album.
Oh wow!
And so I got credit for that. And then I was so much on the record, on the music, that they ended up asking me, do I want to tour with them? Because I was doing vocals and keys most of the time on it. And I was like, this is my chance to travel. So I said, absolutely. So I ended up traveling London, then I went to Paris, and then I played all the major festivals for like 5-6 years, Glastonbury festivals in the UK, to North Sea Jazz Festival and Montreux Festival, all these different shows. And I just fell in love with Europe. And then I went to other places, Japan and stuff. But Europe that was like, oh yeah, I got to live in Europe. 100%.
Yeah, you mentioned that you fell in love, but what did you make you fall in love
with
Europe? What did you make
Europe? No, it was just a vibe, man. It's like, I really can't. I wish I could put my finger on it. I just felt like the energy. I'm so like a funnel when it comes to the energy of people and how they think and process things, and what my eyes can take in, and ears and all this. And out of all the countries, South America to Asia, to all different places, I just felt like Europe was closer to my heart. The feeling of it, the people, the interactions that I felt.
It's weird. For me, it's weird because you are so American.
Yeah?
And like usually it's the other way around. Like usually like people from here say that you go to America and you meet these incredible people who would just ask you how you doing. Because like here you never do that.
Sure.
It's like for me was the best thing about America or Des Moines is that like it was just so, everyone was so informal, like it's like
friendly.
Yeah, friendly and just got to talking in like 1 second, and it was amazing. And for you said that it felt closer to you, Europe.
Yeah.
But in the same way, you are so American.
Am I? Yeah.
Yeah, like just
but boom, but a bing.
Yeah. Yeah, so American. And then it's but I love it that you like it here.
Yeah, maybe it's, I don't know. But that's the thing. When you were talking about people normally like, like you can't, for me, like you can't put Europe in a box and say everybody's the same in Europe, right?
Yeah.
So like maybe London is different than Paris or Hungary, I should say. I mean, or the countries are different.
Yeah.
And the people that surround those places are different. Stockholm, Sweden, all these different places. But when I came to Hungary, it was a culture shock for me because I had already done Europe. But when I actually got here, I didn't start in Budapest. I actually went to a small town, 2.5-hour drive outside of Budapest in an area called Somogy County, in a town called Kaposvár, which was, I have footage of me with recording myself trying to say the name of these cities or towns or villages. Impossible. I butchered the name of all of them because I just couldn't pronounce anything. But when I went to, I can give you so many examples of things that just took me back. Sitting down in a restaurant in Kapishvar, and only a few of us in there, and I'm eating by myself because my friend had to work or something, and I had to, I'm in this town, I got to do something. And I'm sitting down, and I'm finishing, and the lady that was there, beautiful lady, that was waiting on me, didn't speak any English, but she kept smiling. I kept smiling back, and then when I was ready to finish, she just kept looking at me and smiling, and I'm thinking, okay, she's going to bring me my check at some point. And like for an hour, she never did. And I thought, oh, okay, I guess I don't know why she's not, but she's very kind. So I knew, maybe she's, I don't know. I didn't know what to think. And then I realized after a while that you have to ask for the check at that point. And I was like, oh, I got to ask for it. Okay. And I'm the last one in there, and I'm thinking, wow, they're not going to close this place until I'm gone, and I mean, moments like that seem kind of like maybe normal to some people or just, trivial or whatever. But for me, it was like, it was a moment that told me like, I'm in a different place where different mindset, different rules. I remember once I saw a family in the middle of the night standing at a stoplight in Kapishvar, and there's no streets, no, have you ever been to Kapishvar?
Yeah.
Yeah? Winter, nobody's out there. There's no police, you don't see police cars, you don't see that stuff. Middle of the night, and they're waiting for the light to turn, the walking light to turn green before they cross the street. And I thought, this is crazy. It's a family. It's middle of the night. Why don't you just cross? There's nobody's going to do anything. There's nothing here. There's nothing. And it just made me think about mentality, like mindset, First place I ever went, I'll have to give you one more story. I had some clothing that I had this one button that kept popping off. I just never could understand why, but it kept popping off. And so I decided, well, let me go to the mall and have them fix it because I didn't know any places to go. So I went to the mall, and I remember there's this place where these ladies had they had clothing, but they also fixed things. And so I walked in, and again, very seldom at that point, no one spoke English, and I didn't speak Hungarian. Still don't. I can Kici Beszélek Magyarul for my Hungarian family out there. And so I went in and I tried to explain, I need this button fixed. And she's like, okay, just leave it here. I'll do it. And so I left, got something to drink. I came back, and then she fixed it. And then I went to pay her, and she's like, no. And I was like, what do you mean? I got to pay? She said, no. That's no problem. And I was like, wow, that's so nice. That could never happen in LA. Like people would you know what I mean? You would pay. Yeah. And if it was something that happened once, I'd be like, she was a nice lady. But it happened 2 more times. And it just made me say to myself, wow, I love this. Because it's like
so amazing, like how like one lady from a mall fixing a button can make someone move. Because it was one of the reasons he moved, right?
Well, no, I lived here already at that point. I stayed for a year that time. Yeah, I stayed a year that time. But it was one of those things that made me appreciate this part of the world. And it was interesting. You said people don't smile or generally say hello, that sort of thing. Is that what you were saying? That right? Yeah. I have a different take on that because I'm quite the opposite, right? I when I get on a tram or something, or if I see somebody, I make eye contact.
Yeah.
I smile, I say hello. And a lot of times some people are kind of taken back by it. But then
I can imagine.
Yeah, there's this very tall Afro, they don't know I'm American, but Afro guy coming, look,
say hi.
Just saying, it just kind of takes them back, but the reactions I generally get are positive. They respond in a way like hello or wow or and all ages. Now, naturally, sometimes I get who are you looking at me kind of stuff, but it doesn't happen very often. Mm-hmm. And my mentality has always been, I'm always going to be me.
Yeah.
So that was a long-winded answer.
No, I mean that's exactly what I was asking. Like how could, because when you're talking about with Hungarians, you talk about the US, the first thing that comes to mind is how friendly people are, and that's what you want to experience as a culture shock. That's how you said. And to have it the other way around, that you would like this here, I'm very interested why. But yeah,
Now there's some guys I met that were Americans that played I knew a lot of guys that played basketball here that were Americans, and some kind of way they would find me, and then I would show them around Hungary because some kind of way became the ambassador of Hungary because I would travel in so many different places throughout Hungary. I came to Budapest, and we would stay at a hotel not too far from here, and I would show them places to go and all that, And a lot of those guys homesick, completely homesick. They would not eat anywhere but McDonald's here, like they just weren't, and I was like, how? I mean, you're in a foreign country. You got to live, enjoy what's happening here. But some people felt that way, which brings me to the thought pattern of you said people are so nice to you when you're in Des Moines, yet you still say, I wish I was back home. So what was that process like?
There were so many things I loved about Des Moines and being in Des Moines, but there were much more things that I just didn't like, but not about Des Moines.
Okay.
Not about the U.S. It was mainly two things. One is just being homesick.
Okay.
I loved it here.
Okay.
And the other one is that college is not the same as university in Hungary. College is more like a fun kind of 4 years, right?
Right.
In Hungary, it's more like a death kind of 6 years,
You have to study. You have to focus.
Focus. Exactly. And then I was ready for that. I was ready. Okay, this is my 6 year or 4 year, doesn't matter, that I have to sit down, study, get huge amount of information in my brain and become a better person. And then I went to the US and, studying 3 hours, maybe a week to get everything done.
Wow.
Perfectly. And then it was a great experience to be there, but in the same time I was feeling, okay, this might be extremely good for me, but this is just not what I was waiting for as a Hungarian student, because in Hungary that's how you that's normal to go to university, and it's the hardest process probably in your life in terms of studying and getting information in there. But in the same time, it's extremely good because you meet new people, you have loads of new friends. But in the US, I didn't feel that way. So that's why this was the biggest reason I said, okay, I don't want to.
Do you think when you went to school there, do you think that the Americans or the people that were going, I mean, most of them were American, right? That were at the school primarily, or were there a lot of
my close local friends were not.
Okay.
Because everyone it was the tennis team.
Okay.
So everyone in the tennis team were away from Sweden, 2 guys from Sweden, 1 guy from Serbia, Cyprus, a guy from the US, UK. So yeah,
in Des Moines.
Yeah, because it was a tennis team. It was a very international tennis team.
Right, but I mean, but you went to school there.
Yeah, but still, because I was at school there, I met a lot of American people. But my closest
people you hung out with,
okay, were not really from US.
Okay, yeah. And because I would think I didn't realize how hard school is here. You're in high school, we have 4 years, right? Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, first 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th.
Yeah.
Here you have 6 years.
In high school? Depends. You could have 4 years as well.
Okay. Why some 4, 1 6, some 6?
So it's always from going to school to doing your final exams. It's always 12 years, but you can decide if you want to go to 4-year elementary school and 8-year high school, 6-year elementary school, 6-year high school. Or 8-year elementary school, 4-year high school, which is the most common. But you can do either one.
I see.
You have 4-year high schools, you have 6-year high schools, and you have 8-year high schools. And that's how it works.
I see.
But it doesn't really make a difference. At the end of the day, you study the same thing every time.
I see. Wow. So would you say that the kids in Des Moines, or the people that go to school in Des Moines, any of the Americans that you dealt with, do you think that their mindset for study was as strong? Or did you run into people that were like you, Like the Americans. I'm
Yeah,
just curious.
a couple. Yeah.
Okay.
But like it was such a different like I think it's different in terms of like age.
Okay.
I think they do this later. They do it for sure at the age of 22 or 21. But it just when I was there, I was ready to, because at the age of 18 here you go. I'm talking about med school because that's what was my route. What my route was. But here you go into the age of 18, age of 19 maybe, you go in, you study. Okay, you have fun as well, but yeah. And then I was ready for that, and then I went there, and I think it comes a little later, which I think might actually be good. Like I
get the fun out of your system, and then actually take school seriously at that point.
And maybe you have a better, like this is what I hear a lot. I heard this from my brother as well. I heard this from many people that starting med school in Hungary at the age of 18 is just not a good idea. Like it's very hard. And I started later at the age of 20. And then, everyone said it's going to be easier, and it is. Like I have my frontal lobe is formed enough to understand, developed enough to understand that this is something I have to understand, I have to study. And it's not like, I'm never going to use it ever. Because when you're small, that's what you say to math and everything. I'm never going to use it ever. But yeah, as you develop, I think you can take things more seriously. And that was the main problem for me in Des Moines, which is, I think it's because of the cultural difference and not any kind of critique of the system.
I see. You don't seem like a person that binges very much on alcohol or that lifestyle. Or did you? I mean, you seem like a person that was like more laid back, not much of a partier, more focused on sports and school.
I had a couple of years when I was into that. Yeah. I had a couple of years when I was very into going out, but
here or
here.
Okay.
And in like I went out Des Moines as well, but it was over by the age of 19, 20.
Quickly.
19.
Wow. Couple years.
Yeah, just like two years, maybe 3 years.
Yeah. Wow.
But like it was like completely like natural.
Okay. Yeah.
I was not interested in it anymore.
Brothers and sisters, all like, were they people? Did they party at all? Like,
I think the same as me.
Okay. Very structured family. It seems like you would
think it's from up, right?
Yeah.
Not ever.
Interesting.
Yeah. I could like, just to give you an example. When I was searching for high school, I got a good score, so I could go to good schools. I just didn't want to. I like the school, and then I decided to go there, and my parents were okay, absolutely, like do that. Later, like at the last minute, I decided to go to another school, which is better, but it doesn't really make a difference because they were completely supportive of it, and also they were extremely supportive of not really paying attention to academics from the age of 12 to 16. I was really into tennis at that time, and they were completely supportive. They said, okay, it's fine. This is how you should do what you love. But in the same time, somehow it guides you to the same place without any control whatsoever.
And everybody in your family is you feel has benefited from that mindset or that lifestyle.
Yeah, I feel that way, that they did. But yeah.
Okay.
You might have to ask them. But this is how I feel, definitely.
No, I hear you. Wow, that is so cool, man. I love hearing this, because the approach, it reminds me, I had a friend of mine who was a drummer when we were kids. He was a drummer. His father was from, now I know, like the continent of Africa. I don't know exactly where. And his mother was European or something, but they lived in a really nice house somewhere in LA. And I remember when they were growing up as kids, and I would go to their house, they were all just brilliant people. They had about a family of 6 too. I think 3 girls, maybe six or 7. And all of them would sit down, like if they were watching a TV show, for instance, they would watching, there was this show I forget, it was called Kung Fu. I don't know if you even heard about this show, but it was a show.
I know Kung Fu, like the martial art.
Yeah. David Carradine was the star of the show. Bruce Lee was supposed to star, and there's a backstory in that I shouldn't know.
I used to do Kung Fu.
Did you?
Yeah.
He said after my sister was kicking my ass off,
I wanted to
Kung Fu had to be next.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. I love martial arts, by the way. I'm a big fan of it. I wish if I had life to live all over again, I probably would have physically been in that space somehow. But yeah, man. And so they would have like, the show was always about a message within the show. It wasn't about just fighting, although every show had a system where he had to fight somebody and beat them. But it was more about what the mindset was, and to teach. It was a relationship between the master, who apparently had died already, but he had memories of what the master would say. And he was like the traveler that would go different places and find themselves in these predicaments, but he would also have these teachable moments. And so after any of these shows, they would sit back and they would analyze the show and the meaning of what these words meant to each of them. And we were all like in high school or junior high, and I was blown away because I never had that type of intellect around me. I just was mindset. And so when you talk, I think you probably had the same energy that was happening where, okay, so brothers and sisters, they, bicker and do all these other things. But there had to be moments in time where you had conversations that were probably, I would consider unusual, but probably insightful in making you who you are today.
Yeah, I think definitely. And also how I think the biggest part was that I couldn't emphasize it more. My parents were extremely liberal. Like they didn't want to do any kind of hard decisions. They would want to influence, maybe to not do very stupid things, but just leave it to you, and that you would learn that you made a mistake. Definitely. Mm-hmm. Like I forgot to go to my application to the school, for example.
What's that again?
So like, because we were not controlled and we were doing everything on our own, basically.
Okay.
I applied to this high school and I missed the date of oral exam by 1 day. So I didn't go. I went the next day in a suit and it was yesterday. So yeah, it was like I learned from it.
Oh, I see.
Now I have a calendar.
Oh, interesting. So they didn't tell you that it was.
And they would never say that. Okay, what did you just do? They would say, yeah, I mean, it happens. I've done the same things.
But they would let you live and let live. Did they ever discipline you guys? Like
yeah, to a level. But I mean, okay, I'll give you an example so you understand. When I was in like elementary school, second part, so like 6th grade, 7th grade, there was a mother who was criticizing like how my mother thinks about nurturing and stuff by a lot, like huge stuff, like sending emails, writing to the school and everything, because I could make mistakes that others didn't. Like yeah. And then it turns out that it was beneficial for us. So yeah, it was. I think it's a very good thing that I got at a young age, and I want to do the same for when I'm in that position.
Do you plan on having as many kids as you have siblings?
I plan on. It's a good question because if I think the single best thing to do for your child is to have this big family. Like this, the biggest gift I got. But in the same time, it's extremely hard. So like hands down to my parents, because like not just the other day, my mother told me that from the age of 22 until the age of 44, she has not slept a night through.
Wow.
It's 20 years.
Wow. Okay. That makes sense because you have all these siblings and everybody has a need.
She had a small kid from the age of 20 until the age of 44. Like not with any kind of pause. Every time there was one who was small and who was trouble. So yeah, it's
It's beautiful.
yeah, but it's like it's something you have to think about.
Yeah, respect that, man. Wow. And your parents still together.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, my parents got divorced when I was 6, 7. 3 on one side, 3 on the other. Divorce, married, divorce, married, divorce, married, divorce. Yeah. It's crazy.
3 on 3 what?
Yeah, my mom was married 3 times and divorced. My dad was married 3 times and
Oh
divorced.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's when I look at it, I'm like, wow, it's crazy. So, but no, I think there's something to be said about a family that sticks together, and then the kids see that as an example. And then when you grow older and when you look for your mate or what have you, there's certain values that you already know you have in you that is just kind of.
Yeah, and also it's such a good gift because you asked me if I want to have like that amount of children. So I think it's really the biggest gift you can give to your child to have many siblings. But in the same time, since my parents did it, now like there are already 15 like nephews and nieces.
That's right.
So it doesn't really matter anymore because they have it's like so. They have kind of siblings, so 14. So
very cool, man. Wow, this is quite the interesting conversation for me. I didn't want to. I wanted to kind of figure out. I knew what I wanted to touch on conversation-wise with you, but kind of I don't want to say impromptu, but just kind of like really understanding you, because I really have a lot of respect for, what you've shown me so far, like with, your business savvy, your entrepreneurial mindset, some of the things that we had talked about, we talked about your tennis and, living in, US and all these different things, and coming from and all of these things, and you're only 22, right? To me, that's like it's very impressive. And it just shows like the mindset that you are driven, whether it be something that you've always had in you or something that you were inspired by someone around you, whether it be your mom and dad or people around you, or a combination of all those things. Mm-hmm. It's an unusual trait for me to see someone in that space. And so I have so much respect for that, and it makes me even more interested, just a curiosity in my own mind, even though I am much older than you, I still find that inspiring,
Well, yeah, so let me tell you something. In my mind, I feel like it's gonna sound weird. I feel like I am already 22. So like I'm always, like speeding.
Okay.
I feel like I'm already 22 and
but you are 22.
Yeah, but like I'm feeling like instead of I'm only 22, I'm feeling like I'm already 22.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like time is ticking.
Should have done more,
I understand.
And that's just an always hustle and always speeding. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and it's not a good trait to have, I think, in terms of happiness, I guess. Okay. So it's not a good trait to have that you are never feeling like success, I guess.
Okay. Are you would you say you're genuinely happy, or are you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. But not because of these things that I'm doing. It's more like because of my personal relationships. But so it's like it's always you notice that for some people things. Yeah. So I'll put it this way. You get to a level of fulfillment everyone gets to this fulfillment level in a different like level. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. Yes. Like for some people this fulfillment is perfectly enough. Yeah. And as I know myself, as long as I have, it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's never ending story, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I know I have that trait in me, and that's why I think I can like deal with it, but it's not the best trait to have, I think. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I see someone who is 19 and has done this and that, and I envy.
And they're comfortable being where they're at that age, you mean?
That as well. I envy that as well, but I'm using the right word, right? Envy. Yeah, because I'm not jealous.
No, I understand.
I respect that, and I envy that, mm-hmm, that I should have that. So because I know there's huge difference between jealous and envy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I envy that, the one who is 20 years old and perfectly okay with
Content with the situation.
But I also envy the one, and extremely envy the one who is 20 years old and has done more than I did.
I see.
So it's like but I can deal with it now because I know that I have that trait and it's not really gonna change. So it's
I think that's cool, man. Yeah, I understand. I was the same. I thought I was going to be the star, like superstar, like my own music out, my own album, all that stuff. At a young age, when I turned 27 and it didn't happen yet, I was like, "Oh, this is terrible." I failed. I basically failed, and I'm nowhere close to it. And I never actually reached the goal that I had in my mind that I wanted to reach. So driven in that space, I like you. It sounds like you're self-driven as an individual to reach these goals, and you don't need somebody to encourage you or to push you to be what you want to do.
Oh yeah.
You're just that person. I've always been self-driven as well in that space. Took a lot longer than it generally would take, and again, I don't feel like I've reached it. But at the same time, I feel like that energy of being self-driven never goes away anyway.
Yeah, and that's why people say that you have to enjoy the journey instead of the destination.
100%.
But it's hard to do, isn't it?
It's hard to do, man. It's hard. It really is, because you're focused.
And sometimes when you don't do the journey, that's when you understand. Like when, do you have this when you're on vacation and then you just miss, I guess, working or doing productive things? And that's why, you actually love the journey.
100%. My first real vacation, besides as a kid going with my family vacations, as an adult, first real vacation happened, from 17, maybe 32, 33.
First vacation, you mean like when you decided, okay, I want to rest and go and have these 2 weeks off?
Yeah, I met some friends up in Brazil. We hung out. We had went to Ipanema and Copacabana, those whole areas, and we hung out. That was my first legitimate vacation. But I will also say that being a musician, I felt like life was a vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, it was work, but I always felt like I was going different places, able to see a lot of things, similar to you playing tennis in different places, but you were not young enough. You were too young to really kind of enjoy.
Yeah. I was.
Yeah, that process. But I that was kind of like, so maybe that was like, I don't know, maybe that's not a good example, but anyway, that was my first time even vacationing. But yeah, I just think, I don't know. I think that, I have another question for you. I was just thinking now my mind is going to different places because I want to think about so many things.
Firing.
Yeah. Tell me how you got from tennis, because that's where we left off before the thing stopped recording, from tennis at 20 to now you're 22 and you have this company that you've actually started called Voovo. And tell me a little bit about the company. Like, where did the inspiration coming from a medical student, a person that is into this space, to be able to decide to design an app that you want people around the world to have access to and to better their lives? I'll let you kind of explain it further.
Yeah. So first of all, how it came, it really came from me being a student. Voovo, in one sentence, helps students to memorize information. So as a medical student or as a student in Des Moines, it was a hard process to do memorization. It always is. I mean, it's, I think, one of the worst, not for me, but it's probably the one that students don't really enjoy, factual knowledge. And yeah, I did some digging on how they do that and how I should do it. And then I found just this amazing thing that there are two memorization techniques that are proven to be the best ones. And I've never heard of it before. And and it's just weird, isn't it, that there are two techniques,
just two
techniques, nothing else comes into.
So it doesn't come close to these two techniques that work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll maybe go into a little bit about it, but that just work, and you have like memory tricks and memory. When you say you have to connect things together, I think you have heard of it. These are tricks, not really sustainable methods when it comes to thousands of information. But in terms of methods, there are two methods that you outperform every other. And I was amazed that this is there and I'm not using it. And then I did some more digging, why didn't I use it and why didn't others use it? And that's when I stumbled upon this.
Actually, you said, did you start using it to realize that it worked before you?
No, I actually did not.
So you heard about it.
I read the studies.
Read about it. Okay.
I read the studies that it works. I read a book as well. I read a couple of books actually. And it was, it's like Ferrari goes with 350 kilometers per hour and the Suzuki goes with 100. Like it's not even which one you want to drive here if you are going to drive fast, the Ferrari. Like it was that simple. And I was like, why don't students use these? And it was, and I did some more digging, and it was one thing that tends to come up. It was how hard it is to actually put it into your learning process.
Okay.
And it's clear. So using these techniques was pretty clear that it's hard to do. It's very effective, but it's hard to implement. And that's when I started focusing on helping students to implement these techniques. And at the end of the day, it's a pretty simple solution, but it's like I would say it's a pretty simple approach, but it's long and not really a key termination when it's done.
Okay.
So that's what we are working towards for the last 2 years, to create a chance for students to use these methods for any kind of learning.
Using technology to kind of bridge the gap between the methods.
Exactly.
Okay.
Bridge the gap. That's exactly what we are using at our pitches.
No, sir.
Yeah. Bridge the.
I could write your pitches then.
Yeah. Bridge the gap. So yeah. And just so everyone knows, best methods: active recall, spaced repetition. Not really important what these are. The most important thing is that they are best used with flashcards, memory cards. One thing, the question, other side is answer. And the big problem, the why don't students use this is because it takes significant amount of time and energy to create flashcards.
Right.
So that's in one sentence the problem. So we have made it pretty much automatic to turn your notes, your textbook, your diagrams, your anatomy stuff, anything into flashcards pretty fast. And we are constantly, working towards how we can move forward with it, how we can make it even more seamless and smooth. And yeah, that's the company's vision.
I see. Yeah, I was under the impression initially that it was for like teaching medical students how to, or giving an aid to medical students to be able to learn faster using the techniques. But now I'm understanding that it's for anyone that needs to learn a high degree of information, that they use general, basic. You can almost say primitive to these days, right? I mean, compared to what you guys have of flashcards or something to learn something.
Well, it's more like, it could be used anywhere. But really, when you want to make a business, hit off or start, basically, you have to find your first target market, and you have to find the ones that would actually be would benefit the most. And that's why now it has pivoted towards medical students and STEM students, science students. So yeah, that's how we started. But yeah, we have many ideas and ambitions to go to other markets as well.
When you first, when did you actually launch?
2022, March.
March 2022. Yeah. And then prior to that, how long did it take to develop the application for it to be ready for launch?
It's never ending story to develop an application, but I would say that when it was something that could be used, at some level.
Right. Yeah.
It was 3 to 5 months.
Okay.
But it was not good.
Was it hard to launch, knowing that there were some things that you wanted to? Because you sound like a perfectionist to me, almost. You know, you sound like you.
So the developing part in the beginning, we did it with an outside company, so it was much easier than if we would have done it ourselves. Mm-hmm. But then we knew that we aren't able to raise good money with doing it outside company, so we moved everything in house, and that's hard.
Okay,
that's extremely hard, and I cannot list you the mistakes I've done. And that I would have done differently. And now in the next era of this company, I will do differently. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just, you think it's easy. Like I thought it was, I mean, you have a good idea, you have a couple of things that you have to put together, and then you just launch. And it's like our product in terms of what it's for, it's much better than the competition. Mm-hmm. Like I can say that without any kind of, like ego, it's for what we are building it's better. Mm-hmm. But turns out it's not. You have to find what you're building for, and if that is not correct, the market will not respond. And that's what happened with our first launch. We were building something for the thing that we thought we were building it for. It was a good product for that, but turns out the need is somewhere here.
Interesting.
And it's usually not the product it's not the actual product that you're building is not good. Mm-hmm. It's usually the need that you didn't specify.
I see.
And that's what happened with our first launch.
Okay. And how were you able to clarify what that need was?
Because usually when you miss the need, you miss the aim of the need, usually there are like people who are in both and who you just nailed the need of.
Okay.
Those are called early adopters. And to working with them and understand why the others did not, retain or did not really get into it is how you can, I think grow. So we've done many UX like interviews with users and stuff, and we just figured out a couple of ways. But it's still, when you don't have really much money as a startup, you have to gamble.
Yeah.
So if I had, millions and millions of dollars to start, we would not have an application out yet because we had the money to burn before making many mistakes.
But is that actually a formula for disaster as well? Don't you think? Like, in other words,
launching late?
No. Having millions of dollars to put out something that you think that you can make right without having the testing ground that initially got you to realize that, this didn't work well for this this application. We launched it. It didn't do very well because these people said they're the early adopters, but then these others kind of showed us that we needed to go in a different direction.
Yes, definitely. But I think there is a way that it is meant to be like this, that early startups don't have much money, and then you get more money as you grow. But it's just a gamble. Like now I cannot do A/B tests on features because I don't have the money for. So I have to decide from a couple of interviews, do A or B, without having data on which one works. And as you grow, you have like every single feature of LinkedIn or Facebook is definitely A/B test. Like there is no feature that is not at or A, B, C, D, E.
Right. Exactly. Test. Right.
But as of now, we really have to think a lot about which route to go, because we don't have a second option or second chance really. So yeah, that's I think the hard part.
Okay.
And it's not just hard. It's I think it's a lot of luck. Not really luck, but like if you do hard enough, you're gonna find your luck eventually. But yeah, you really have to be extremely not narcissistic and egoistic about your product, because if you sit down and you see the numbers, they're not good, mm-hmm. you have to why they are not good, and don't try to make them good. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did with our first launch. And we just launched a second, like we have released a huge update like 2 weeks ago.
So 1.3.0. 3.0.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have been developing it, but this is the biggest change so far.
I see.
And yeah, we are waiting for numbers. If they're good, we're very happy. If they're not good, we're gonna go back to, finding out how to, because the problem is there, that's for sure. The need is there.
Okay. Gotcha.
But we have to, find a track. And that's what we believe that we're gonna eventually get to it, because that's how our approach is.
How do you interact with from the early adopters to the current users? Like how do you know what their needs are?
So 3 things. First is surveys. Whoever churns, we send a survey, couple of feedbacks we get from there. It's really fascinating how you think a survey should have thousands of replies to be relevant. 5 replies.
Interesting.
5 replies, because it's weird. I didn't think it, but 5 to 10 replies, you already get a pattern.
I see.
But maybe if you don't have a pattern, you have a couple of ideas that you can work on. And you're okay, this is something. So when you think you don't have enough users to do surveys, that's one of the things I learned, because I thought that. Someone told me to do surveys, and you have a couple of thousand, maybe tens of thousands of users. Maybe 10 or 20 will fill them out. Why the heck should we do surveys? And yeah, you should do it, because just one feedback could make the difference.
Could make all the difference.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's one thing. We do many interviews. So get them down on the Zoom. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wow.
Tell me what you think. Tell me how you would do that. What did you feel like? Why did you stop using? Why did you continue using? And stuff like this. There are many ways to do interviews very well. And the third one is data.
Okay.
So anything you get from the data that you can figure out exactly why, but it's hard as well. You have to, let's say in our case, we do user generated content instead of curated content.
Okay.
So it's either you are having Instagram pre-filled with many reels, or you let users to create their own reels. It's completely different. I'll give you a great example. These audiobook apps, it's a huge thing now that you have books that are 15 minutes.
Yeah, that you listen to.
Yeah.
Yes.
And those are usually curated. Those are usually put up by the app themselves. They have a team who is working on content,
Okay.
You usually get these up, and you cannot go, most of these apps, you can go as Ray to upload a book summary of yours.
Okay.
You understand? There's a difference between user-generated and curated content. And in our case, we do user-generated. So we allow them a software to turn anything into your own content.
Okay.
But it takes a lot of, motivation and effort in the first part to start making it's always easier to have already made content for you.
I see.
And that's why it's hard to differentiate ourselves from apps that have curated content. So it's you have to, and sometimes data is not enough for that. That's why we have to make interviews.
I see.
Because it's huge differences. So yeah.
And these interviews, do they contact you? Do they just reach out to you saying, "Look, I have a problem. Can you fix it?" Or is it a situation where that you just find them? I mean, it's how does that? It's for me. Somebody
No, it's just
somebody.
He was fascinated by the concept.
Oh, I love it. Cool, man. I love it. For all my listeners, by the way, we have a window. I don't know if you're listening to the whole podcast or not. I don't even know how long we've gone so far. It's been fun though. We have a window where people are walking up and down the streets of one of the major streets in the Buda side of Budapest, and it's beautiful to see people stop and enjoy the moment. You know what I think I want to do sometimes? I think I want to have some kind of monitor up, that kind of broadcasts this almost in a live setting.
Oh yeah.
And so that they can pull it up on their phones and be able to watch it and continue on.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Someone make it extremely like it's easy to understand that this is actually live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that you can look it up actually.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's what got me into live streaming. I think that would be, actually, I even step it even further. I hate to give this idea away because actually I'm not going to because it's public. Yeah. No, I'll save that one. I'll tell you off this, but I have another idea that's just going to change everything. Like really.
No way.
In the way process of it. I'll tell you about it. But yeah, people getting feedback from from individuals that are on your platform. Obviously, that's the best thing you could. That's like it helps with that with development. And oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. But that's right.
How do we get them, Ryan?
Yeah, how you get them. And I'll give an example. I am a big user of like SaaS products. And sometimes I use SaaS products that haven't been proven just yet. Anybody that doesn't know what SaaS is, it's software as a service products. And I tend to interact when I have an issue with something. But if I do really like the product, but there's some issue with it, I'll stop everything. I have a software that I use, kind of like Loom, that I'm able to record what my issue is. And I do a verbal thing with it. And I let them know at the beginning, look, I'm really fascinated with your software. I think it could be great. I just ran into something right away, and rather than sending an email to them, I just send them a quick video.
Yeah.
And then with that video, I show them their problems. I'm saying, look, and you guys have a great software. I just want to show support by doing this.
If everyone was like you,
press send.
Softwares would be much better than
right?
that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest feedback you can get. Explaining the problem. Right. You know,
yeah.
That's just amazing. So, do you get these softwares from like Product Hunt or?
No, actually, I use a company called, actually, it's funny that you said Product Hunt. You know, I know the owner.
Really?
Yeah, I met him years ago.
Oh, no
years
way.
ago, another story. Yeah, I met him years ago.
Product Hunt in a couple of months, so.
Are you?
Hit me up.
Yeah, the thing about it is I lost contact with him, so I got to send I can find him still. I have another friend of mine who I need to get in touch with, and he used to work for them. That's why I went to their office. I used to have a shirt. Product, but see, it's so funny. When I went, I knew nothing. Like they were big then. They were in San Francisco. I didn't know anything about Product Hunt. Like nothing. It had no value to me at all. And my friend, I got so many stories. I don't know if I could. I don't even know where to start. Sometimes. Do you know what Meerkat is? Do you remember the technology Meerkat? They were the first social-based live streaming app that was out on the market. They're the first ones before Facebook Live, before Twitch, before the only company that was out there that I remember that was even doing anything was the Hungarian Ustream, right? Mm-hmm. This is that far back, right? Early 2009, 2010, something like that. Maybe 2011. I don't know. I get confused. But that used to be a live streaming app, and I was so blown away. There was launched in South by Southwest. I don't know if you're with that. That's Austin, Texas. Yeah. It was a music festival, technology festival, movie festival. I had a chance to play it once or twice, so that's how I kind of knew about it. But they would do the technology thing, and I was so into tech. I was the guy that was a musician guy that was into tech. I wanted to know whatever the new technology was coming out. So they had this thing called Meerkat, which is the first of its kind to show live streaming from an app. And you could talk to people, then they could message you back, and you can go back and forth with them. Their lag time, though, was like a minute. So if you were talking and you stopped talking and somebody popped up on the other end, and if you didn't talk during that whole process, then they would think you were just looking at them. So you would always constantly have to talk in order to get feedback. So I went from 0 to like 50,000, I think 50 or 100,000 viewers on this app. Like I became a big deal. I had people asking me on dates, sending me gifts, like just really crazy. And I just realized the technology is amazing. So anyway, fast forward from that, one of the guys that used to work for that company left that company, ended up working for Product Hunt. And then I ended up traveling to San Francisco once with a friend of mine and ended up meeting up with him. And that's how I met, I forget the guy's name. That's the owner of it or whatever. But yeah, that's how I got to Product Hunt.
It's amazing. And where do you find the SaaS things now?
That's where we see how I did that roundabout. See, that's my brain is ADD is kicking in right about now. SaaS AppSumo.
I don't know that.
AppSumo. AppSumo is the LTD.
AppSumo.
AppSumo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. AppSumo. A lot of people launch there. Like crowdfunding kind of thing, but it's a different way of crowdfunding on it. And I've actually connected with a lot. I used to buy a lot because I couldn't afford to buy just these subscription services tried to start kicking in. I was tired of that. I was like, oh man, I got to find another. And I found AppSumo, and I was actually finding these early companies that were basically coming up with pretty cool technology. And I thought, wow, let me just jump in. And I would say I bought maybe over a period of at least 6 or 7 years, I've probably bought nearly 90 different, SaaS products from them, that I bought into. It's like, to me, I look at it like, how you buy stocks and all that stuff. But instead of that, I just kind of put that money in tiers. You can buy their first tier where you just get a minimal amount of access to the SaaS product. Second one is a little bit more. Third one, you get like a robust, almost like the pro plan that they would sell in the subscription service anyway. And so I would kind of go from the middle to the high, or I would start with the first one. And then before they closed out, I would go with the second tier. And then if I really liked it, I go to the third tier. And I would say maybe 40% of them, I don't have, I have them, but they might survive. They may not. I don't know. I'm not really torn on, but some of them, they've grown, been bought out by larger companies, and I still have access to the SaaS product. Yeah. And it's incredible. One of them is Loom, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't Loom, but there's another company that's like a Loom called SynSpark. SynSpark is like.
Oh, that's what you use?
I use SynSpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know SynSpark?
I mean, I know because of you.
Oh, okay. Oh,
you sent me a video. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. See? Yes.
I use Loom, yeah.
Yeah. But I used to use Loom. I used to use them. And then SynSpark changed the game entirely. Yeah, they did.
Is it better?
I personally think so. Yeah, at this stage of it. They weren't when I started, though. That's the funny thing about it. They weren't. But now they're like Austin, Texas company. A lady runs it. Yeah, it's phenomenal, right? Never have access to the start button. Okay. So why did I talk about all that? Oh, yeah. So I interact using that software, going back and forth to talk to various people about problems I'm having, and just that whole process of it. But another feature they have in it, though, is that you can actually send a link for them to record their information from, and then it just automatically comes to you, right? So in other words, they use the same platform that you use, but you're sending them the link to turn on their camera, turn on their microphone, and give a recording of whatever they want to talk about at that point. It takes a little education for them to, not a lot of people are tech savvy, so they don't know how to turn on their cameras sometimes and the whole process. But it works on app. And so I'm wondering why more companies don't take advantage of tools like that to get more feedback necessarily from.
Yeah. I mean, how we do it is that we have defined our communication basically to encourage users to hop on a call in every email, it's in the app as well. You can book a call through the app. But this is how we get occasional ones, I don't know, once every week, maybe sometimes five a week was the most. But when we really need to, we just reach out.
Okay.
So there are okay, this is a huge feature. We need to test it heavily. Then we reach out. But otherwise we do it occasionally, every week once. That's usual.
I see.
And then when it's really I don't know, 15 in a short week.
Places like AppSumo. Have you ever thought about launching in spaces like that?
I have not heard about AppSumo, but I'll definitely take a look tomorrow morning. Where we're gonna launch in a couple of months, I would say, maybe 1.5 months. I'm not actually on this project. It's my colleague. It's Product Hunt.
Okay.
So yeah. But I think it could be great to launch on AppSumo as well.
Yeah, I see people.
It's less a SaaS product. That's kind of maybe a problem.
Per se, yeah. Okay.
Because software as a service is usually for people like you, or for companies, or for people like me. It's more for medical students. Product Hunt and AppSumo is both, I guess, less relevant.
I see.
Than for example, Loom. Loom could launch extremely well on Product Hunt.
I see.
But still, we're gonna take the advantage of the platforms.
Very cool, man. Wow. Man, we talked about a lot of stuff. God damn it. God damn it. Wow. And I wish I spoke Hungarian. Maybe I should.
Do you learn?
No, I haven't. Matter of fact, I'm forgetting English. Terrible.
What have you ever tried to learn any kind of stuff?
I'm embarrassed to say that when I first came here, which was in 2001, was my first time here.
2001?
First time coming to Hungary.
That's when I was born.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm as old as dirt. Now it's official. 2001, right after a month after 9/11, the catastrophe of 9/11. Well, I shouldn't say catastrophe, whatever you want to kind of call it. The terrible time that happened, tragic. I came here, and I didn't think I would stay as long as I did, so I didn't really focus on trying to learn the language. And then when I ended up leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back, I just never really decided. I was like, I felt, I don't know. I just thought I was probably too dumb to learn another language. Cause I don't know if you know being where you had went to in Des Moines, there's not too many people that speak dual languages in the US, right? We're at school, we are required to take a second language, but we don't take it seriously. At least I didn't. So I think.
I mean, it's the same for me. I don't speak another language, only English.
Yeah, but that's two.
Is it? It's not. It's. I mean, how I put this? I use English because I need to.
You said, is it?
But isn't it? Like you know what I mean, right?
I know what you mean, but.
It's like without English, I cannot survive.
That's true. You could just nationally, just nationally you could survive.
Okay, without English, I cannot really survive.
Right.
So or any kind of people from the US, they could survive without German. I could survive without German. I didn't learn it.
Yeah.
So I'm not I don't think it's because of some you don't really need it.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
If I didn't speak English, I would stuck in Hungary, 10 million people. Yeah. Well, it's just unimaginable.
Right. Gotcha.
So there is no other way not to learn English.
Did you know at an early age that English would open more doors for you, or you just decided I'm going to learn English?
In Budapest or in the suburbs, it's not really a question. Everyone speaks English.
No, that's not true.
Okay, at
least not in 2001 when I came. The only people that spoke English?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anyone who doesn't speak English.
That's awesome. I love it.
Maybe a couple of people who speak German very well instead.
Okay.
But it has because of my social
circle.
Social circle. But
sure.
I don't know anyone who doesn't speak English.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah,
I know one guy who speaks technological English only.
Okay.
That's the only one.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, a good friend of mine who, when I met him at Flirt. Remember Flirt? Club Flirt? No, it was closed by the time you were born.
Sorry, I don't remember. I was not born.
No, at 10. No, it actually closed in the teens, 20 teens or something. But there was this gentleman that I met in one of those places. He didn't speak any English, but I used to see him walking around with a camera, and I was like, oh man, camera guy. He ended up being my camera guy for a couple of reclams and things I did here in Hungary. But he was a technology just master. I could just tell he was a really smart guy, and he tried so hard to talk to me, but it was so hard to just sit there and listen to him because his English was just, he just couldn't speak it, but he tried so hard. He really wanted to connect with me. So he became one of my dearest friends. And then he ended up getting married, and the girl he was with, really smart girl, ended up getting a scholarship to some school in San Francisco. So they decided to marry. He decided to move there. I don't know how he did it, but some kind of way he learned the language. He ended up working for IBM. And he started laying like these, what do you call it? The pipes that for, transmitting, like internet stuff, just to get stuff from point A to point B. I forget what they call them, but the technical term, they call them pipes, right? Not for water, but for, I'm trying to figure out the best way.
Wire?
No. Yeah. Like pipes for like transferring data. Like, massive amounts of data that need to go from point A to point B. He was in charge of that. He started from the bottom, and they found out he was so smart that they actually raised him up, and now he became so big. His name is Arpad Kuhn. Shout out Arpad. That he ended up, when he'd come, then they had him directing that within Europe, like within here. So when he came here to IBM here, his credentials was actually higher than the president of IBM here in Hungary.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he would go back and forth, and he was like this big wig. Now I'm looking at him, everybody's like sitting around the table with this guy, and I'm like, you made it, man. Look at you, And he's just like this guy, they're doing interviews with him and stuff, and TV. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And then he left there and went to Facebook, and that's the first time I went to Facebook campus, was to meet him, and he took me into some music room where I'm playing drums, and I didn't know Facebook had even a music room, but they had a music there. You can go there 24 hours anytime. They give you a pass to go through it, and he took me there, and him and his girl worked there, and now he's back here in Hungary, and he works for some major company. I should hook you guys up now talking about it. Yeah, he's a smart dude, man. Smart dude, very clever, and well connected. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing journey.
Yeah.
Like I said.
Yeah. I like to talk. You can tell I like to talk a little bit, right?
Yeah, well, you should. Do you want to get people on the podcast like him?
You know what?
That's amazing.
I just might do that. The thing about
you have like personal stories as well together, which makes it like spiced up.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe that'll be my next sling. I'll send him this podcast with you, and then he'll hear his name dropped many times and feel obligated to have to do a podcast with me. So I like that. That's a good idea. Let's do that. Anything else that I have not touched on that you just want to let the public know, let the world know? I know you're looking for funding.
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, we have actually secured half of it already.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Since we talked?
Yeah.
My man. Congratulations, brother. Congratulations. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so that's good. So anybody out there that's smart enough to understand that this gentleman here is pretty clever, number one. Number two, he's driven. Maybe not in that order, but both of them hand in hand. And he's a great guy, right? And I got a feeling that we'll be having a lot more conversations as time goes, because I want to know how things progress in life in general for you. I just want to be part of that journey, even if it's from a bird eye view.
Well, thank you, and I'm also congratulations again for having your baby next month.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to have my hands full, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well.
Here we are. We did it. This is it. That's right. Close me out. Teach me something Hungarian. I'll go ahead and try.
Say, köszönjük a figyelmet.
Köszönjük kaffiányat. Köszönjük kaffiányat.
Köszönjük a figyelmet.
Figyelmet.
Yeah.
Köszönjük a figyelmet.
Köszönjük a figyelmet.
Köszönjük a
figyelmet.
Figyelmek.
Something like that. Say it again.
Köszönjük figyelmek.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. That's much easier.
Yeah. Thank you for your attention. What you have just said in Hungarian.
Oh, okay. I love it, man. Thank you. I'll try to retain that. I'll have to listen back to this interview to retain it. All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Girl, I saw you staring at me from the other side, and I don't know about you, but I got butterflies.